Meeting recording has started.
All right, thank you everybody for joining. This is for the pre-bid meeting for the site work package for Police Intelligence Center, Property Control and Precinct 2, IFB 2024-01-1892-MH. On the call today, we have me. I am the Senior Procurement Contract Administrator. I'm the designated point of contact for this IFB. Um, Kevin Underwood, I haven't seen him yet. I'm not sure if he's here. He's the
Yes.
St. Louis County Project Manager. We have Navigate Building Solutions, who's the county's technical representative. We have Gemma Architects, who's the design team lead. We have David Mason and Associates, which is the civil engineer. We have Trinity Russell, who is the diversity contract compliance specialist with the MWBE program. Um, I saw we also have a couple more, Nate Adams with MWBE program and Nikki Dawson as well. And we have Jansen Thomas with prevailing wage um, enforcement. Okay, so the bid documents can be gotten from Crossroads. Their email is there if you have any issues, and then the link to access that information is there as well at stlouiscoplans.com. For vendor registration, the link is in the bid packet, but it is on the screen as well. You want to make sure that you register as a vendor um, in order to submit a bid. You won't be able to submit one until you are registered. And to search for the bid, this is bid 1892, just to make it easier for this particular one, but feel free to look at others as well. We're always happy to have as many bidders as we can for all of them. Okay, so some important solicitation dates. The deadline for questions and comments is February 2nd. Um, 11 a.m. is a typical time. Now, in the bid packet, it said 7 business days prior, which is the state, but I will clarify that in the first addendum that goes out. This is not a hard, fast stop date. This is just the time that we can guarantee that we can get you appropriate answers before the bid due date. If you have any questions after this, definitely feel free to send them to me and we will do our best to get the answers out to you. The bid due date is February 13th at 2 p.m. This is a hard stop. Um, Anything after that will not be accepted. It has to be submitted through vendor self-service. It can't be emailed or anything like that. So I recommend everyone try to submit the bids before 2 p.m. In case there are any technical issues or anything like that, because once that deadline hits, then that's it. So please get it in as early as you can that day. And if you do have any issues with the submission, please let me know as well. And then there is the cone of silence. Um, so there should be no communication except for today's meeting, no communication with anyone except for me, who's the designated point of contact. Email is preferred, and my email is on the screen. It's also in the um, bid packet as well. And I will get back to you as soon as I can. If it's a question regarding the bid itself, not the process, but the bid itself, um, the answers have to be put out in addendum so everyone has access to all the information. So I won't be able to answer you directly for your question, but it will be put out in addendum so you have that answer. And then for today's discussion, um, anything that is discussed today cannot be, does not change the terms and conditions of the solicitation. Any changes have to be done via addendum. Otherwise, it's not an official change. Um, if you have any questions, um, even in the discussion today, if you ask questions, we will try to answer as much as we can, but still please submit those to me via email so we make sure we get the proper answer out to you, to everyone, to get the full official answer. So again, please make sure to submit those via email so we can get those out. And then with that, I will pass it over to Jamson Thomas for prevailing wage.
Thank you, Melanie. Good morning. Uh, Bidders are able to estimate your minimum labor costs by utilizing annual wage order number 30, which has been assigned to this project. LCP Tracker is also required for the timely weekly submittals of certified payroll reports. The county does not accept paper certified payroll, including PDFs. The county will only accept uh, certified payroll that's been electronically validated using LCP Tracker. To assist contractors and all subcontractors in using LCP Tracker, there will be 2 live trainings following the pre-construction meeting. Uh, my recommendation is that there will be one training specifically for the prime as the prime approver, in addition to written instructions and written guidance provided by LCP Tracker, along with the 45-minute online on-demand video training. There will be a live training hosted by St. Louis County by LCP Tracker support. My recommendation is that the prime require attendance uh, to the second live training, again, hosted by St. Louis County, provided by LCP Tracker support. The second live training will be for subcontractors and will cover the contractor side of LCP Tracker. If you any bidder has any questions regarding labor compliance, apprenticeship requirements, um, prevailing wage, Chapter 290, RESMO, please direct those questions, as Melanie stated, to the Senior Procurement Contract Administrator, to Melanie, and I will reply with that guidance and instructions on labor compliance through Melanie, through an addendum, so that everyone has an opportunity to receive that information. Uh, with that, the only other thing I would mention is later in the presentation, there's going to be a discussion about the requirements on the site. In addition to the on-site superintendent's trailer, in that trailer, there should be a job site bulletin board. That's another requirement for Chapter 290. And that should have labor posters, employment posters, including a copy of annual wage order number 30 in its entirety in a highly visible place. So with that, that covers the prevailing wage and labor compliance requirements for this project. Again, if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask now or submit them via email to Melanie, and I'll reply with guidance and instructions. With that, happy to turn it over to Trinia or whomever with the MWB program that's going to discuss the next set of contract compliance minority participation. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you, Jansen. And sorry, Trinia, real quick before you get started, I just wanted to also mention for all the contractors and subs that are here, if you could please put your information in the chat, your name, company, and contact information, and that way everyone has can get in contact with each other and um, for the bid. So if you could put your information in chat, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, and I'll pass it over back to MWBE Group.
Hi, my name is Trinia Russell. I am a contract compliance with the St. Louis County MWBE office, and we will be talking about the pre-bid process for the MWBE office. The goal set on this project or MBE is 28.7%. For WBE is 11.3%. Um, as we discussed the pre-bid process, some of the things I wanted to point it out that are very important is to, how to meet the proper MWBE participation for the project that goes from engaging significant numbers of certified MWBEs or making a good faith effort. So the first thing you want to make sure when you're submitting a bid, you want to make sure all the contractors, whether they're certified or not, that includes lower tiers, subcontractors are listed on the utilization plan. That is the first and most important step. The second step is when you get to the NOIs, that's notice of intent to hire, make sure they're all included, whether they're certified or not, and signed by the subcontractor. That is very important. Another thing to keep in mind here at St. Louis County, we use B2G. Just like Jansen just mentioned, he used LCP Tracker at the county. We use B2G. Okay. Another thing that I really want to put emphasis on the NACES code. The NACES code must match the type of work that is submitted on the notice of intent as well as the utilization plan. If it's a certified firm, that firm must be certified with those NACES code to be counted for participation. That is also very important. We are requiring all bids to be submitted in with the U plan in the notice of intent. So I just want to make sure that I reiterate that because I don't want anybody to be counseled or not considered for not having the bids attached to the bid process. Now, at the end of this session, I did attach a brochure that goes more in depth of, you know, um, the reason for rejections and a checklist just in case somebody doesn't catch it. We do have a brochure as well as the county website screw information where you can pull up the website and get more information. Making a good faith effort. It is strongly encouraged that everyone fills out the making a good faith effort even in the event you feel like that you made the goal. For example, here at St. Louis County, we only accept the City of St. Louis Airport certification, and we only accept MODOT certification. Those are the only two. So, in the event you fill out the U plan or your team fill out the U plan, and they use somebody else from another certifying agency that we do not accept, it will not be counted. So, I strongly encourage that everyone fill out the making a good faith effort forms. In those forms, you have to show who you contact, how you contact them, a copy of the email. It's a pretty intense process. Not only just filling up the forms, you want to attach the verification of the information you're putting on the good faith effort form. Um, so that's just a brief description. Like I said, there should be a brochure at the end that have detailed information about the pre-bid process. Um, so do anyone have any questions? Okay, with that, I will pass it on to Kevin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kevin Underwood. I am the project manager. I will be the owner slash county representative during construction. I have with me today my team, design professionals, and I want to introduce Colette with Navigate Building Solutions. She is acting as my deputy project manager and construction manager. Colette, do you want to introduce the
Yeah,
design team?
yeah, I will. I'll real quick go through the phasing, and then I'm gonna turn it over to the design team. I'll introduce them when we turn it over to them. But just a quick overview of the project and uniqueness to it of how it's being phased. So at the beginning, Melanie explained this is a bid for site work. The site work is for a county project in Maryland Heights, county-owned property, and the county is intending to build a new building to house police intelligence center, property control, and precinct 2. That building is currently in design. It's about halfway done, and it will go out to bid in a couple of months. But in the meantime, the site work design is done, and that's what we're putting out for bid now, and that's the package you're bidding on. So the site work is what we are calling phase 1, and in particular, that will include the mass grading of the site. You'll need to do some clearing in order to do that mass grading, install the storm sewer and the sanitary sewer, and there's some retaining wall work. At that time, that will commence or wrap up phase 1, and about that time is when the phase 2 contractor will likely have the work will have been bid and a contractor will be awarded and released, and they will come out to do phase 2. That is not part of your bid package. However, in order to finish part of your scope, you will need to return near the end of their phase 2 work to put in the rest of the storm structures that lie in the backfill of the building, and to complete the plants in the biobasin, because you will hold the MSD permit. We want to keep all of that biobasin work under one contractor, and that is you. You're the bidders on that, and that phase 3 is part of this bid package as well. So this bid package is phase 1 and phase 3. Phase 2 is a separate bid package for the building and the other site work that we don't have in phase 1. So the parking lots and curbs and site electric and water service and landscaping. Our design team is going to go a little further in depth on the actual scope of this site work package. So introducing you to John Emmert with Gemma Architects, and then Mike Mueller with David Mason and Associates as the civil engineer.
Thanks, Colette. Hello, everybody. My name is John Emmert. As Colette mentioned, I'm the project manager principal at Gemma Architects, and then we also have Mike Mueller, who is our civil engineer from David Mason Associates. So Mike, I think if you could take control of the screen and share the documents, we'll run through the drawings. Obviously, the bid package includes full specifications and drawing package. So I think we'll hit high level what this current scope is for the phase 1 site work by going through the drawings.
Can you see my screen all right?
Yep.
Okay. Some of the highlights that we wanted to point out on the set of plans is, as Colette mentioned, it is a heavily wooded area back here where we're going to be doing a lot of our work. Part of it's in nice grass area, but there's a lot of tree demolition that's going to have to happen before we can move forward. Some other items back in here, which is kind of hard to see on this drawing. I can go to a blow up drawing in our demo package, is there's some storm structures back here as well that's going to need to be removed. So we got some channels that we're going to be grading out, some storm structures completely being removed, another one here to its endpoint, another one that goes up to the previous drawings. Our limits, we're getting pretty close to Dorset, 80, Schaefer. We're avoiding the county fueling station altogether. The building next door is the county construction offices. Again, we're avoiding their parking lots. We're skirting their fence here, but we do have our sanitary line does go through that back part of that property. So there's not as many trees, but anything within our path, obviously we're gonna have to clear out. Not huge, but there's a couple stumps in the just beyond the fence that we're going to go ahead and take out for them as well. Getting into the site design overall, generally the building is facing Schaefer, will be facing Schaefer. So we're going to be grading and installing storm sewers all around the building for future parking. Basin sits to plan north here, and then that sanitary line runs this way here. Colette had mentioned that some of the structures fall within the future fill. When we get to the grading plan, you'll see a nice huge slope going down towards the building. So this particular storm run, we have a note to call it to stub out one pipe length and then cap it, stake it so you can find it when you come back after the building has been backfilled. We're also going to hold off on putting any trench drains in because that will just be a huge speed bump during the construction of the building. We don't want those to get destroyed, so they'll have to come back and finish those. So we'll stub the pipe over to it, but we won't install that one. Additionally, from structure 1-10 to 111, that you'll have to come back and finish that one after the backfill for the building. And then this entire run was also in the backfill. So these three trench drains will also be done at a later date after the site's been brought up to fill. I also wanted to highlight the under drain system. I'm going to switch over to the grading plan here. So you can see this huge slope we've got coming down on three sides. It's really directing the whole site runs from Schaefer towards Dorset. So we think there's going to be a big problem with stormwater during construction. So we are going to be installing a 6-inch under drain system on three sides that's highlighted in orange here on my screen. And we're also going to be putting in these Nyloplast structures, 24 inches with a beehive grate to help with the stormwater as well during construction. The phase 2 contractor will be responsible for capping those Nyloplast, but for your construction, we're going to put a beehive grate so we can control the stormwater around the building pad itself. So I just want to make sure that was highlighted. On the sanitary line, we're going to address this in addendum, but there's a drainage way. Just make sure we're restoring the drainage channel to its original condition. We'll add a note and issue that in an addendum. I just want to point that out. This shaded area is the bio basin portion of this nested basin, if you will. This detention basin / channel protection / bioretention basin, all to meet MSD requirements. Only part of the bottom is actually bioretention basin. And that's the area where you have to come back in after everything is secured upstream, so there's no more erosion potential. Dig back down this 4 feet and install the aggregate and sand planting soil layers, and then have it planted at the end of construction. There's some sections in the back end of these that kind of shows you what that system is made of. So that area will have to you have to come back in and dig that out. The basin is essentially going to be acting as an erosion control basin until construction is nearly complete. Then you can come back in and coordinate with the building contractor to go in and install that. Those are the highlights that I wanted to hit on. Let me check my notes. Restore drainage channel, the 2-to-1 slope that we have on here. We've got called out that the 2-to-1 slope will need to have a plastic sheeting on it to avoid erosion during construction and to anchor it in at the top. So make sure we understand all of that. We do have a little slight berm at the top of this to keep water from rolling over the top so that the stormwater can go into these structures during construction. So hopefully we won't have anything going over top and down the slope to affect the building construction, only what falls on that sheeting, and then it can go down into the beehive grates that we have designed. Just make sure we're doing temporary seeding in all areas when you're complete. Also note that in the building and in the parking lot and paved areas, where we're coming up to basically we've designed this to be 1 foot below finished grade so that the building contractor will come in and do the parking lot. In all those areas, needs to be compacted per the geotechnical report and specifications for under pavement and building to the 95% standard Proctor. And I believe that's everything that I wanted to cover. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Quick question for you. Is this intended to be a little bit of an export here, or is it close to balanced? We haven't run through everything quite yet. I was just curious what your initial take was on it.
Um, I'm glad you brought that up. We're going to be a balanced site. And what we're doing when we're doing our clearing, and I'll get up to the overall demo plan, is we're clearing up to this line. This area right here is we're clearing it so we can stockpile excess cut in phase 1 and use it to backfill in phase 2. So we've got an area identified for stockpiling. When you're stockpiling, our erosion control plan, we always show the initial erosion control because it's an active site. As a site develops, you might need to move your silt fences or your inlet controls. But when you put the stockpile, you'll need to temporarily seed it and make sure you put your erosion control around a silt fence around it, make sure we're not having erosion going off our disturbed area. So your portion, phase 1, will have excess cut that will stockpile on site for use in phase 2.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If there's nothing else on the particular drawings or scope, we can switch back to the slideshow. Okay, thank you. So there are liquidated damages on this project, and they're on a few different milestones and requirements. So there's liquidated damages associated with submittals. From the date the contract is executed, you have 45 calendar days to get your submittals in. And this is just an intermediate milestone to help keep the whole project on task. There's also liquidated damages associated with uploading all of your first tier subcontracts into B2G. Trinia talked about B2G and how that's used for tracking the MWBE. It's very important for them they need to see those subcontracts to verify what folks are getting paid or going to get paid. So all of those need to be uploaded into B2G within 30 days of contract execution. On previous projects, they had to be uploaded before you could start. So this is giving a little bit of leeway there to make sure you can still get started while you're working out your subcontracts. But if it goes more than 30 days, that's a problem. So we would then start incurring liquidated damages. And then substantial completion, there's 2 milestones for that for you. The phase 1 to be done June 30th, so that we're out of the way in time for the building contractor to start. And then also when you come back and complete your phase 3, that's another substantial completion milestone. And these are so critical because this project is funded by grant funding. But if we are not complete with work by a certain date, we don't get that grant funding. So the penalty for that is 50% of the work not completed by those milestone dates. And then final completion is 30 days after each of those substantial completion dates. So 30 days to wrap up any punch list and all closeout documentation. And if it goes beyond that, the county starts incurring costs for their consultants who have to go beyond their contractual obligation of 30 days. So any cost that would incur, the county would look back to the contractor to absorb. Any questions on liquidated damages? Okay. We can go on to the next slide. Thanks, Melanie. So some site requirements, as typical, provide your own restrooms. We do ask that you're going to have a temporary trailer, and I understand sometimes in the site work phase, you don't always have a trailer out there yet, but we're going to need it for a touchdown space and a place to hold our meetings for those first few months. So you can demobilize that trailer at the end of your phase 1, but we do need that out there, and the bid package goes more into description of how much space that needs to be and so forth. I believe on the civil plans, you'll also see, or it might be on the site logistics plan, they were going to have you, before you wrap up phase one, go ahead and put in a temporary road around the building in place for the general contractor. We're also asking, because you're the first people on site, we want to, we're very excited about the project and want to start advertising it. In your scope, you will be providing a project sign, and there's a description of it in the bid package. So design team will help us design that, but then you would take it from there to get it fabricated and put it up on the site as soon as possible after notice to proceed or contract award. Mike talked a little bit about SWIP and erosion control. You will be responsible for that because, again, it's a permit that has a contractor's name on it. So you will be that contractor. So you'll set up a SWIP at the beginning of phase one and adjust it as necessary, as Mike described. And then when you leave, it has to still be in place through phase two. So you may be coming out through phase two to do some periodic maintenance of it, and then to remove it when the time is right. We expect this contractor to keep the streets clean daily, not just once in a while. Keep them as you found them. And then parking, you're going to have to see for your own parking on site. There's not going to be any parking on the street. There's a fueling station. If you go visit the site, you'll see there's an existing fueling station that stays in place. The only thing we do with that is make a new entrance for it, but no parking on that fueling station site. The county uses that every day, multiple times. You can't be blocking them. Can't park there. And then please no parking on any of the other county lots along that road. Those are already spoken for. So please see for your own parking on site for your folks. Next slide. Okay, permits. So the design team will be applying for these permits, but we will expect the contractor to pay for those. The MSD permit, grading permit from Maryland Heights, not certain yet if that has a cost to it, but just letting you know that that is a permit we're pursuing. And then Mike and John, do we need anything from the fire district for this phase one?
I don't believe so, not for phase one.
Okay.
We'll verify that though. Mike,
Okay.
you think we would need to go through fire, would we?
No, I don't think we do since we don't have a structure.
Right.
Right. It wouldn't hurt for us to touch base with them though.
Yeah,
exactly.
we'll clarify that in a forthcoming addendum. And then what about the county transportation? Do we need any permit from them for this package? We can clarify that in an addendum too.
Colette, the contractor will need to pull the MDNR permit so that the permit is in their name for land disturbance.
Okay.
And that's an online application. If the winning bidder needs assistance, I can help them out with that.
Okay. So that leads into allowances. We spelled out in the bid package a few allowances, and one of those is the second one I have listed here, is an allowance for permits, deposits, and utility fee allowances. So this isn't open-ended, like this isn't for just any permit that you need. If you need a drain layer permit, that's your contractors should be paying for that. That doesn't come from this allowance. But this allowance is to pay for that MSD permit when you pick it up. If there's any cost to the grading permit or the transportation permit or any of the permits that our team has applied for, as well as you won't have likely any utility connection fees. But if any surprises come up that are typically owner costs for utilities, we would ask you to pay for them. First, get approval from the county to use this allowance for that, and then use this allowance to pay for it. It goes smoother and faster than the owner paying for that. But again, this is not meant to pay for anything that is incurred by oversight on the contractor side or trade permits or any other permits that the contractor is responsible for. And then we have two other allowances. One is an unknown subsurface condition allowance. So this would be if we hit rock unexpectedly and there's some unit prices in the bid form that we would use to apply to this. And then even once we get above surface, if we have any other unknown conditions, that's what the third allowance is for. So again, all allowances, you can read more about them in the bid packages, but all of those do not get spent before getting approval from the owner. And you'll see on the bid form, those are already entered on the bid form. And then when you plug in your value for the rest of your scope, it should auto-populate what your total is. But please check that. Your total bid includes your work plus all of those allowances. And then that'll be the number that you enter into the system, into the online system when you submit your bid, along with an uploaded copy of your full bid form. Do we have one more slide?
Nope, that's all.
Okay. I believe that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Kevin, anything else you wanted to add before we go to questions?
No, I think everybody's done an excellent job explaining our expectations for the bid process and for the project. I think everybody that's taken the time out of their day to join us in the pre-bid meeting, I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing your bids. Other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, any questions from contractors on the call? Or clarifications?
This is Doug with Interface. We had a few questions, but we submitted them to the county through an RFI. I guess the issue our concern was holding retainage for 2 years for the, if the contract goes from 2024 to 2026. Was one of the RFIs. We said one of the things we were wondering about.
I think I have an answer to that, but I'd like to review it with the county first. So we will we'll respond to that in the addendum format for responding to RFIs.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Melanie, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. This is Nate Adams, and I'm with the MWB program office. And I wanted to make sure that the primes that are on the end of subs, of course, that really understand what Melanie is saying about time is of the essence on this project. And as it relates to the MWB program office, there's some things that Trinia explained it perfectly, but I want to reiterate that when you're filling out the notices of intent, because sometimes they'll put the final number, what they're doing, which is great, but they leave the blank space where it says what work they will actually be doing. They usually leave that blank, and or they'll say, see attached or something. That's supposed to be filled out when you're doing that. It says, I will perform, said contractor will be performing X amount of work for X dollars. And they'll put the dollar in, but they won't put a work category, NAICS code, or anything like that. That's supposed to be filled out. So make sure you do that. And also on your U plan, she said that you're to include all contractors. And I want to reiterate that means all contractors. Everyone, every sub that you're using, whether MWBE or not, non-eligibles are supposed to be listed, including yourself as the prime, what work you're going to be doing as well. There's no changing of the U plan once it's submitted. those are the people you plan on using, and we expect to get notice of intent for those people. If there's a question on whether you're going to do something versus subbing it out, then you put that under your work category. But you plan should total your bid dollars. It should total your bid dollars. The situation with us only accepting 2 certifications, that's MoDOT and Lambert, which she just alluded to. They have lists of subcontractors in every category. So reach out to those websites and you can find a list of certified M and Ws and Ds for said work. Because if the goal is not met, we must move on to the next lowest bidder if you don't have your good faith effort. And that's very key. Like she said, that's very key. So with that, that's all I have. I just want to reiterate, make sure we understand that you need to employ good faith efforts on these projects. Thank you. Appreciate you all attending and your time.
Thank you, Nate. Anyone else? Questions, clarifications, anything? Okay, thank you, everybody. Again, if you have not, for the contractors, if you have not put your information in the chat, please do so. And with that, I think we are good.
Thank you, Melanie. Appreciate it.
Melanie, this
Thank
is
you,
Andre from TaylorMade. I had a quick question. Will the attendance sheet be available on the site?
Everything that's in the chat, we will put out in an addendum.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank
All
you,
right.
everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Melanie.
you.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.